Good day, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome for today's discussion. I am Jessamay Biliwag, and I am the chairman for today. For our discussion, we will talk about privacy and security. As we all know, our technology has advanced rapidly. Gadgets like tablets, cell phones, and computers connect to web, which allow us to upload and download information, which can quickly move through to social networking sites to an audience of hundreds, thousands, even millions. This new form of communication connects us to millions or even billions of people across the world. The internet is an incredible tool that allows us to connect with family and friends. We are here today to inform everyone about how they do online and how they use social networking sites and its privacy and security. And throughout the discussion, we will identify the risk and to minimize and overcome them. So, according to research, 99% of teens use the internet and 77% of teens have a profile on a social networking site. What do you think are some unique aspects about social networking site? For me, social networking sites are websites that allow us individuals to build a public profile where you can share information about you. And it's also a great way to connect with your friends. So, we all know that Facebook is the most widely used social networking sites today. Let's cite some advantages of this site. This website allows us to share with others what we desire to share, ask public opinion, and we can even ask questions. You can also share your pictures, videos, and what you have been up with your friend. It also provides a simple, small chatting application that you can use to chat with your friends who are on Facebook, find your old friends and colleague whom you have lost for years. And through Facebook ads and fan page, you can advertise your business. But that does not mean that you'll even share your private information because it's a confidential. Prior in sharing information on the site, is the information we post online confidential? Actually, when we post online, it can be viewed by everyone. But there is an option which we can select to make our profile private, which allows only those you select as a friend to view it. Since we've discussed a lot of unique ways using the said social networking site, but what are some of the risks we should be aware of? When you're chatting online, you are never exactly sure who is on the other side of the computer. Also, sometimes people ask some important details about us and we can't always be sure who they are from. People do this because they think that no one will discover who sent the messages. Well, that's the serious risk we should be aware of. People often falsely perceive that they are anonymous online. It's important for us to control ourselves appropriately online. We need to be cautious whoever person we are dealing with and about sites and profiles willing to visit that requires some important details such as your bank accounts, password, address, and many more that is confidential. It's important when chatting online to protect your name, your identity, and your reputation. One example that I can cite is hacking an account. In definition, hacking is an attempt to exploit a computer system or a private networking inside a computer. Simply put it, is the unauthorized access to our control over computer network security systems for some illicit purpose. This one is common occurrence among of us, and if it goes far enough, it can lead to a serious effect among the victim of this. That's why we need to be careful about our conduct online. We may think that giving an important details about us is okay, but it's not. If you or someone you know is the victim of hacking, here's a tip on how to handle it. Ignore and never respond. Responding by them is exactly what hackers want, so don't give them the satisfaction. Instead, respond to hacker by preventing communication from the hacker, or better, block them. I will end my discussion here. Thank you for listening. I'm happy to discuss all of this with you and hope this discussion continues out in your schools and into your families and friends. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. I am Jayana Amorte Aguinaldo, and I am here to discuss to you the freedom of expression and censorship. We all know that the internet and the new information communication technologies, or ICTs, are now an integral part of everyday life for many people around the world. ICTs are giving more and more people a voice and are improving openness and public debate in the society. The International Covenant on Civil and Political Rights, or ICCPR, elaborates upon and gives legal force to many of the rights articulated in the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, or UDHR. First, everyone shall have the right to freedom of opinion. And second, everyone shall have the right to freedom of expression. This right shall include freedom to seek, receive, and impart information and ideas of all kinds, regardless of frontiers, either orally, in writing or in print, in the form of art, or through any other media of his choice. At the same time, restrictions on the right to freedom of expression in relation to ICTs are on the increase. There have been many warnings that more and more states are trying to increase their grip on the growing flow of data and how people express themselves online. Hate speech is not a legal term of art. In everyday speech, we tend to use the term hate speech to refer to speech that conveys hateful or discriminatory or stereotyped ideas on the basis of factors such as race, religion, gender, sexual orientation, and so forth. Freedom of speech in the United States today, as a matter of law, is greatly protected. The U.S. Supreme Court has interpreted the First Amendment to allow government to restrict speech when the speech directly causes certain imminent and specific harm. For example, if the speech constitutes a true threat that intends to instill in the persons to whom it is targeted an objective reasonable fear that they are going to be subject to attack, that speech can and should be punished. If the speech intentionally incites imminent violence, or if the speech is targeted face-to-face, bullying, or harassment that impedes the privacy and freedom of the person to whom if the speech is targeted, that can and should be punished. The best argument in favor of regulating speech is when it satisfies the emergency principle, when it causes directly, specific, imminent, serious harm, and there's no other way to prevent that harm. The best arguments against regulating hate speech are that it does more harm than good. Censorship is completely inconsistent with individual liberty, inequality, and democracy. Censorship does more harm than good to the very causes that advocates of censoring hate speech hope to advance. Those goals are actually undermined through censorship rather than promoted by them. Freedom of speech is essential to our democratic self-government, where we the people have the sovereign power. We cannot exercise that responsibly or meaningfully unless we have the access to information about our government and the opportunity to communicate with those we elect to represent us, and we cannot hold them accountable unless we are able to exercise robust freedom of speech, including the freedom to strongly criticize government officials and government policies. If people understood the First Amendment principles and the very sensible line that they draw between hated and hateful speech that is constitutionally protected and hateful speech that is not constitutionally protected, they would be very supportive of those principles. Those who are advocating for human rights and equal rights and dignity, racial justice, gender justice, those causes all depend on very robust free speech protection, sufficiently robust to extend to speech that some people would attack as hate speech.
What is surveillance? Surveillance is a target form of monitoring usually conducted to obtain specific data or evidence and usually occurs without the person knowing they are being watched, such as data being collected from apps without a person's knowledge. Now, what is data retention? Data retention defines the policies of persistent data and records management for meeting legal and business data archival requirements.